everyone, it's Nicole Moore, low carb keto health dietitian here, and I would like to answer a question that I got asked today, which I hope will probably help you on your low carb keto journey as well. So this was from one of my clients today, and was really concerned about consuming what she called bad fats. Was worried about consuming what she's been taught are bad fats and how that's going to impact her cholesterol, and wondered whether it would be better for her to use rice bran oil instead. So I always start off my conversation with don't blame the butter for what the bread did, okay? Because ideally we need cholesterol to survive. It's important for hormone production and for our body to function. So we shouldn't fear cholesterol. I think what's important to understand is the particle size of cholesterol that is actually the problem. So when we do a low carb ketogenic diet, we absolutely take out carbohydrates. We take out added sugars, like sugar you find in soft drinks and cakes and biscuits, and the sugar you might add to your own breakfast cereal, sugars in breakfast cereals and added to yogurts. We also take out natural sugars, which is lots and lots of fruit and dairy products in excess, particularly if they've got added sugar, and honey. And we also take out a lot of starchy carbohydrates, which break down to glucose, so potatoes, pasta, breakfast cereals, crackers, rice, sweet potatoes. We're consuming so many of these foods these days, and people have metabolic issues and insulin resistance. So every time they eat these foods, it puts a lot of pressure on insulin, and the body's already producing a lot of insulin that creates inflammation. So when we go on a low carb ketogenic diet, we take those foods right down, and we encourage good quality serves of moderate protein like meat and chicken and fish and eggs, and it includes nuts as well. And we encourage healthy fats, and healthy fats are saturated fats, real fats that aren't processed in a factory. So we're talking about real butter from just cow milk, and we're talking about cream, we're talking about full fat dairy, we're talking about some like animal fats that you find in meat and chicken and dairy. So these healthy saturated fats, including for some people, ghee and lard, and are fats that technically do not get oxidized when they're cooked. So when we cook with these sort of healthy, stable fats, they don't break down and get damaged. And so when we consume them in our bodies, they don't damage our cells, they don't damage our cholesterol. And yes, if we consume more of these foods which have fat in them, this saturated fat gets converted to cholesterol in the body, and so there's more cholesterol in our blood. And generally, cholesterol just sits in the blood and it recycles back through the liver. And if it's not damaged, then it's not dangerous. And we call it fat and fluffy, so it's a larger particle size. If cholesterol gets damaged and attacked by sugar, it gets glycated and damaged and oxidized. And there's an ApoB100 protein on cholesterol that gets damaged. And so the liver can't actually recognize that cholesterol anymore. So instead of it just recycling back through the liver and being used for sort of hormone productions, etc., it just sits in the blood, and it gives off triglycerides and fats, and it gets smaller and denser. And so this damaged cholesterol now is what we call sticky, small and dense, and it is now dangerous. So cholesterol will get dangerous and sticky and small and dense if it gets damaged and glycated by sugar. So if you follow a low carb ketogenic diet and you end up eating more healthy fats, saturated fats in the diet, more butter in cooking, you might be using cream, you might be cooking with ghee or lard, maybe you're eating a lot more dairy foods and more cheese and creams and yogurts, etc., then you're going to naturally have more cholesterol in the blood. And as long as you're not eating the carbohydrate that damages it, that cholesterol will stay fat and fluffy and not dangerous, or pattern A as we call it. But if you're eating lots of sugar and excess carbohydrates, and that's breaking down to sugar in the blood, and you're eating a lot of fruit, which is creating lots of fructose in the blood as well, then this will damage the cholesterol, and now it will become dangerous. So don't be worried about consuming healthy saturated fats on a low carb ketogenic diet, because you may get more cholesterol in your blood, but as long as it's not damaged and glycated by sugar because you're not eating carbohydrates and sugar, then it will stay fat and fluffy and it won't be damaged. Now you can actually measure this. So the low carb doctor here, Dr. Laureen Lawless-Smith, will often get our clients to get lipid subfraction tests. And a lipid subfraction test will tell you how or what type of LDL you have. And there's actually 8 LDL. So when you just look at total LDL on your bloods, it doesn't really tell us a whole lot. If you get a lipid subfraction test, it will actually tell you if you have the small nasty cholesterol, which is the LDL 3 and 8, and you'll have that if you have a lot of carbohydrate in your diet and sugar. It'll tell you if you have the fat and fluffy or pattern A, which is what we want, which is LDL 1 and 2. And what they find on a low carbohydrate diet is because you're not having the sugar in the blood, the triglycerides in the blood drop, and this frees up the good cholesterol, which is HDL, that goes up, and that's really protective. And the cholesterol that's sitting there that may be a little bit higher will not be pattern B or damaged, it'll be pattern A, which is what we call the LDL 1 and 2, the fat and fluffy, non-inflammatory cholesterol. So you can get a lipid subfraction test. Our Dr. Laureen Lawless-Smith here does those with our clients to assess cardiac risk. You also look at your lipid profile and look at your triglycerides to HDL ratio. You can also measure your HOMA-IR, which is an insulin measure to see how insulin resistant you are. And all of those factors can be looked at if you're on a low carbohydrate ketogenic diet and you're worried. So do we start using rice bran or other vegetable oils? Absolutely not. They are oxidized omega-6 fats that get damaged while they're processed, and we consume those damaged oxidized omega-6 fats, and that creates further damage to our cholesterol and our arteries in our body. So we do not want to be using those vegetable and seed oils. They are just toxic chemicals. If you want to use an oil, I would often recommend olive oil, extra virgin preferably, because it's less processed, and that at low temperatures doesn't get as oxidized compared to all those vegetable and seed oils. Also, you could use coconut oil, which again is a saturated fat and so is stable in cooking. So all your saturated fats like your butter, your ghee, your lard, and your creams, and your coconut oils and your olive oils do not get oxidized. Olive oil a little bit, but all those other saturated fats, when they're cooked and heated, do not oxidize, do not break down, and do not damage your body. So on a low carb ketogenic diet, don't be so concerned about your animal and saturated fats, but get some tests done and make sure you check in with your low carb doctor to make sure that your cardiac risk is good. And it's really all important just to get balance. Lots of above ground green leafy vegetables with every meal, nuts and seeds, full fat dairy, butter and olive oil and coconut oil, and good quality protein like meat and chicken and fish and eggs and nuts and seeds, and some berries because berries are really low in sugar. And that's an amazing, healthy, balanced, low carbohydrate ketogenic diet. So I hope that maybe has made you less concerned about saturated fat. There are some really great podcasts out there. Listen to Dr. Paul Mason, listen to Dr. Ken Sakaris, and listen to our lovely Dr. Laureen Lawless-Smith, who all talk about saturated fats. So don't be worried. Please come and see our low carb doctor here, Dr. Laureen Lawless-Smith, and she can do some tests and do a cardiac screen. And please see me, I can help you with your low carb journey as well. Please share this with anyone else who's on a low carb diet, and visit us at lowcarbketohealth.com.au for more information. Bye for now.